think that was practice number 9. In about 7 days or so. Guys are working extremely hard and got a lot more stamina than they've had, I think, in the past. It's obvious we had a good off season as far as our guys running and the condition they're in. Still tough out there, very warm out there. Guys are tired, guys are pushing through some nicks and bruises and things of that nature. So it's typical this time of year. Guys fighting through it a little bit, mentally as the days wear on and the bumps and bruises wear on. But they're pushing, and the coaches are pushing them. I got leaders that are really doing a good job of trying to lead. Most everybody's trying to be a good teammate. So at this point, I don't know if we could have got more accomplished than we have during the time we've been given. So I feel good about what we're doing so far.
At this point, how close would you say you guys are on settling on, essentially the 44 to 55 guys that you're going to have to go to war with, in the first game?
Well, right this minute, we've got a number 1 and number 2 unit and a number 3 unit. I don't know if we have number 4 unit anymore because of some bumps and bruises. But so, I mean, in essence, when you say your first and second team is set for today's practice, you're basically saying if today was the game, who would be going. So I guess we're close in that regard. There's some guys that, maybe missing a practice or two for whatever reason, and we'll be back soon, so you got to factor that in. But we're close.
What's your number 2 quarterback situation look like?
Mike's been really giving a lot of guys reps. I'd say, Fatone and Bryce are in a closer race than Jacob, but Jacob is making progress. But I don't know if number 2 is established right this minute.
Are you all happy with the way Hudson's been throwing so far?
Yeah, Hudson's doing well. He took 1 day off of throwing. Arm got a little tired, and so we gave him a day's rest. But it's pretty typical in a camp to do that. Gives the other guys reps. But Hudson's doing a very good job.
Getting back to the number 2 quarterback battle again, how much were these scrimmages where you got one Saturday coming up? How much will that play into that decision?
Scrimmages help, and it comes down to when we start installing for Clemson where we think we are, and it might be tight enough where it could be a week-to-week discussion. I'm not sure. I just don't know if I've not sat down and talked to Mike and said, what do you think about that specific thing? But I asked about how each guy does individually, but I haven't said, if you had to choose the number 2 guy today, well, who would it be? So I haven't had that discussion, but I'd have a hard time making that decision right now.
Getting back to the scrimmage itself, what are the things you look for the first time out?
Well, it's just the first time you put it all together. There's so many fundamental drills that we do. You guys see those mostly, and then the drills from the fundamental drills go to group work, where you might have just the lineman working and maybe just the perimeter working, and then you'll do some 11 on 11, but it'll be in more of a thud type situation. You're not really moving the ball. You're giving them different situations, downs and distances and things of that nature. You script them, but it doesn't happen spontaneously like it does in a drive. And we might say this is a 4-play drive, this is a 6-play drive in practice, where when you scrimmage, it may turn out to be a 9-play drive or 11-play drive. Or, so how do you handle that as a player, and how do you handle live tackle and live blocking? Those are some things we want to see, and it'll give us a better idea where we are.
Mike's obviously got some new guys in the secondary who I guess are kind of in the mix. How do you evaluate players that just got here versus some of the veterans in a situation like that, and still give the new guys an honest look when they don't really have a big grasp?
You know what? Our new guys have been getting plenty of looks. Jeremy's done a good job of getting everybody up to speed in a hurry and getting them reps, and I don't think we're gonna have trouble getting a young guy enough looks to decide if he can play or not. That's kind of priority one in the backfield.
One of the really intriguing situations for me at least is just how you're gonna do the whole tight end H-back situation. Given that, Jay's in some days and out the others, not sure what the situation is with Jordan
Mhm.
Davis. Quavon is obviously a very different kind of athlete you have out there, and I guess you have the option of going away from that altogether, in terms of your personnel
Well,
sense.
right.
What do you see in there?
Well, I would think hopefully by the time we get to the game, we'll have the ability to play all of our tight end sets, and Quavon has become a legitimate tight end. He's not just a fullback trying to be a tight end to me. He's really become a tight end who can still play fullback, and so that's really an advantage for him. But we always practice personnel groupings that, in case there's some kind of catastrophe at the tight end position, that we could function without tight ends. 3 receiver, 2 back sets, 4 receiver, 1 back sets. We'll always have in our arsenal just in case we need to lean on that more heavily. But we anticipate having tight ends in our games.
Do you see the offensive line kind of sorting itself out more in terms of like it's Kublano?
Well, Kublano's having, it's, I guess, some days Kublano or whoever, is having a good day, and then the next day may not be quite as good. And Coach Friend has been mixing and matching the number 1 unit. He hasn't settled on a unit yet, but they, the first and second line are functioning pretty good. I mean, we're able to run our plays and protect, and not. Obviously, there's some plays the defense whips us, and some plays the offense whips the defense. But we're definitely not settled yet on that line.
Is that because of the move? Is that because you like what you've got to some degree and trying to figure out which
Yeah.
5 go in?
Right.
More than-
Yeah. It's mostly. It's not like we're trying to find. Do we have 5 that can play? We think we got at least 5 that can play. So, like you said, we're worried more about getting the right 5 in there, and if there is going to be some type of a rotation, what might that look like? You also like to cross-train your guards and tackles on a certain side. You'd like for your left tackle to know what the left guard does, and because they, in case you have injury, you might have to move a guy in or move a guy out, and if he knows what the man's doing next to him, then it's just an easier transition to do that. So we've done a little bit of that as well, and we got some bodies that are kind of tweeners. I mean, Colton could be a guard or a tackle. Watts could be a guard or a tackle. Beard's could be a guard or a tackle. I'm sure Theus could too, but Theus has been, I think, almost exclusively tackle. But we're just trying to create depth sometimes too by guys knowing more than one position.
How's Watts Dantzler kind of done?
Watts is coming on. He's throwing his hat in the ring for a starting position or quality playing time, and he's having a good camp so far.
You return the most experience in that front 7 on defense in terms of playmaking experience. You having trouble getting anybody blocked right now when you guys go ahead?
Oh, there are some times, yeah. I mean, there's guys making really nice plays defensively. Defensive front, I think Coach Rocker's got them going in the right direction. I'm sure if you talk to him, he wouldn't go bragging on everybody right this minute, but they're getting there. And again, you see flashes from guys on both sides of the ball. Guy do it just right. You're like, look what that guy can do. And then the next play, it may not be quite as good, So the consistency is what we're looking for. The dependability is what we're looking for. Guys that'll play hard all the time. Guys that'll play the right technique all the time, not just some of the time. And that's why we practice 29 times before the first game.
When Jay Roan was swinging a pickaxe yesterday in the sand pit, that was a new one.
Yeah.
For me. What was the?
Well, we just if a guy can't run, you gotta burn calories somehow, and you gotta exert somehow. And, Joe T thought that would be a good idea.
Y'all had a pickaxe handy.
Yeah, we had a pickaxe, thought we'd dig a hole, and then cover it up and dig another hole.
Can you, is Jordan Davis around? What's his situation?
He's day-to-day.
Day-to-day from an injury standpoint?
Anybody else?
Have a wonderful day.